This busy railway station is in the Melbourne suburb of Richmond, scene of what is probably the first Australian railway disaster to be recorded on film. On July 18, 1910, in foggy conditions, an incoming commuter train collided with a stationary locomotive. 9 people were killed and more than 100 injured. An essential element in the safe running of any railway network is the efficient operation of its signal system, as this newsreel item from 1933 illustrates.
Despite recent derailments, from which no railway system is entirely free, the New South Wales railways have a record comparing favourably with any in the world. The nerve centre, where each movement of every electric train is governed. All clear shows on the indicator flashed from the man in the box, and the train starts on its journey. It clears the station and back drops the indicator, a silent warning that the line is in use. In the box, the signalman guides it unerringly over a maze of crossings and points to the main line along which it is to travel. Although he cannot see the trains, whose destinies he controls, their every movement is indicated on a large electrically illuminated diagram. Day and night, practically without cessation, the trains hurtle through the bottleneck at which all main lines to Sydney Central Station converge. Not for a moment do the drivers slacken speed. Their trust in the infallibility of the signal system is instinctive. They know the lives that are in their keeping are safe. Rushing over the network of metals, the train is switched to the one set of rails selected for it hours before. No possible contingency that might affect the safety of lives and rolling stock is overlooked. The flashing lights of this diagram are but an indicator to the signalman. By means of a mechanical interlocking system, the factor of human error is eliminated. Should any points or signals be in a dangerous position, the operator cannot clear that section of the line until they have been so placed as to ensure a safe passage. Not the least of the many marvels of the signal system is the automatic safety trip. If a signal left at danger is missed by the driver and the train is not checked, the trip remains raised and automatically cuts off the current, applying the brakes and bringing the train to a standstill. Little does the passenger realize the infinite precautions that are taken to ensure his safe passage. He alights at his home station without a thought of the marvel of ingenuity that has safeguarded him. Symbolic of the ceaseless vigilance of the signal system, the unwinking eye that never sleeps.
Despite the obvious advantages of a fail-safe signal system, Australia has experienced a number of spectacular accidents involving trains during the past 100 years, most of them caused by equipment failure or human error, resulting in an appalling loss of human life and serious injury. In March 1935, Sydney's North Shore line was the scene of this dramatic early morning train smash when 2 city-bound trains collided, the last 2 carriages of the first train being telescoped by the first carriage of the second. Neither train was carrying many passengers, and miraculously, only 9 were injured. 30 seconds after the initial impact, a third train travelling in the opposite direction crashed into the overhanging debris. The line was closed for several hours as rail gangs cleared the track. Passengers were again lucky to escape death in January 1945 when this train came around a bend near Maryland Station in Sydney's west, heading for the city at 65 kilometres an hour, and struck a 17-centimetre bolt which had been placed lengthwise on the rail. The leading carriage left the track, careered down the bank towards the road, turned completely around, and ripping the sides out of the following 3 carriages caused them to derail as well. Boys were thought to have placed the bolt on the line, and with more than 200 people on board, it was a miracle that no one was killed. 7 of the 13 people injured were admitted to hospital, the driver being the most seriously hurt. Then in June 1948, 55 people were injured when these 2 passenger trains collided near Cowan on the Sydney-Newcastle line. The Newcastle Flyer was ascending the steep incline from the Hawkesbury River, unaided, heading towards Sydney, when it stopped suddenly in a rock cutting because its wheels would not grip the wet, slippery track. The Cessnock Express, scheduled for 12 minutes later and being assisted up the grade by a second locomotive at the rear of the train, came around the blind bend and crashed into the rear of the stationary Flyer. The engine and two carriages of the Cessnock Express were derailed, ploughing up the railway track and filling the cutting with steam. Incredibly, again, no one was killed, although many passengers were injured, suffering mainly from shock and abrasions.